here, and welcome back to another episode of Viridian Flashback. Today, I have another game based on a film I'd like to talk about, and honestly, I'm kind of shocked it exists. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now, we all remember the timeless book by Roald Dahl and the wonderful film and its offbeat remake it's based on. But to see a game based on this kind of story is, well, odd. And yes, I know there was a game back in the day based on the first movie, but I'm the Xbox guy, so it doesn't really matter to me. So on this episode, we'll be taking a look at this Chocolate Factory.
Bounce, 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 bounce.
No, not that one. And see if it's collection worthy. Let's take a look. It's not gonna be, is it? It's gonna be bad. The story is essentially the same as the film it's based on, with a few changes here and there to suit a video game adaptation. Young Charlie Bucket dreams of visiting the world-famous Wonka factory, created by the amazing yet eccentric Willy Wonka. Wonka holds a contest where he places 5 golden tickets inside his candy bars, where the winner gets to visit the factory. When Charlie wins the last ticket, he heads off on an adventure he'll never forget. Like I said, you know the story, hence why I didn't go into too much detail. And besides, the changes aren't that drastic. I mean, instead of the bratty kids just learning their lesson, Oompa Loompa sing, and all that great stuff, you have to help them. You know, game fluff. The gameplay, though, that's where things really start to turn. Maybe not for the best.
Excellent! The jelly bean stock candy. These are quite delicious and useful, too. They might even help get that pest out of my plumbing. This isn't your ordinary candy store jelly bean, you know.
Charlie can best be described as a third-person puzzle platformer, which I'll describe more in a moment. You control the young hero through the chocolate factory.
Bounce, 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 bounce.
No, not that one. Trying to undo the damage that the other kids have done, while saving them in the process. To help you on your adventure are the Oompa Loompas, those tiny little singing workers that always know what song to sing at the right time. This is where the puzzle aspect comes into play. Controlling them is very similar to Pikmin, where you give them a command to perform. There are different types of Oompa Loompas for the tasks, such as welders to fix pipes and harvesters to collect candy. Speaking of candy, you're given different kinds of candy that act as tools to help you out. Some include bubblegum balloons that help you jump higher, a rock candy shield that you can use to push objects, and your main attack, everlasting gobstoppers. While all of this sounds great on paper, the execution sadly isn't. The gameplay starts to get very boring, doing the same tasks over and over again. And it doesn't help when the controls can be a little unresponsive, especially when it comes to commanding the Oompas. Also, the camera control is very wonky, becoming a pain in the ass with platforming sections. So the gameplay really bogs down what could be a real solid platformer. Thankfully, though, the presentation is the true star of this chocolate factory. Son of a bitch.
Bounce, bounce, bounce.
The graphics for Charlie are pretty good for the time, with a fun level design that fits the setting of the film. For the character models, more cartoonish style was adapted instead of capturing the likeness of the film actors, and it works, especially in the cutscenes.
Having rescued Augustus Gloop from the Chocolate River and finally caught up to Mr. Wonka and the rest of the kids, Charlie found them faced with a peculiar dilemma.
Audio-wise, it really shines with a wonderful soundtrack that gives off a Burton-esque feel. for voiceovers, the majority of the film's cast returned to voice their respected characters.
For despite Mr. Wonka's protests, Violet had sampled one of his new inventions, a stick of gum that was a whole 3-course dinner all by itself.
It's amazing. Tomato soup. I can feel it running down my throat. It's changing. Roast beef, baked potato, with crispy skin and butter.
With the exception of Willy Wonka. Although, in my opinion, the actor they got sounds a lot better than Johnny Depp.
We've got to squeeze the juice out of her immediately.
This time, requesting that Charlie roll the foolish girl to the juicing room,
Don't worry, we've had lots of practice with this.
where she could be restored to her former miserable state.
Will Violet always be a blueberry?
No, maybe. I don't know. But that's what you get from chewing gum all day. It's just disgusting.
So that's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Is it collection worthy? Despite the wonderful presentation and classic story that it has, the gameplay problems just kill it, and in the end, I cannot recommend this game to anybody. However, I do respect the opinions of my fellow gamers, so if anything you've seen in this episode just calls out to you to play, then by all means, play it. Besides, it's not going to break your wallet. On Amazon, it goes for about $6 new and 50 cents used, so it's not going to kill you to pick it up. It's just kind of sad that this game really didn't do it for me, because I'm a big fan of the story and the films it's based on. Overall, it's just a semi-botched attempt, and sadly, I don't think there'll ever be another game based on this story. That is, unless Michael Bay remakes it, and I really don't want that to happen. Well, on that note, I'm the Dolly Popka, and if you want to play retro, try going green. I'll see you next time. Please don't let Michael Bay remake that movie.